Good morning from Mount Rainier, the Carbon River Road, which is closed here at the entrance to the park. Just want to show everybody why it's closed. The Carbon River last winter flooded, and this is what you come up to. The parking area is right down the road there, but as you can see, the river flooded, came out of its channel, and wiped out the road here. So we're parked down the way about 100 yards, and this is what the washout looks like. Don't mess with Mother Nature. Holy moly, look at this. It's just pretty wild washout. Drops down about 15-20 feet here, and the river's way over there right now. But yeah, so kind of a cool morning, about 6 a.m. We're heading down the remnants of the Carbon River Road, and we got kind of a neat hike ahead of us today. We're going to go up to Green Lake and Ranger Falls, which is on the way to Green Lake, and should be a fun hike. We've got to go down this road about 3 miles, and then we're going to go up the slope to our right about 2 miles. So more to come. Hope you enjoy the hike, and we'll check in a little while. Thanks for hiking with us. Well, good morning again. This is Steve. A little better introduction this time. This is Steve with my hiking buddy Gino.
Hello, good morning.
And we are on the Carbon River Road in the northwest corner of Mount Rainier National Park. The road was closed back there. It's actually closed all the time. There's a campground about 5 miles up the road that you can still access by bicycle or by foot. And at one time, though, you could drive up to it, and then the road up there was flooded out. Worse flood than down below here, and the National Park Service decided best to let Mother Nature win that one, and they closed the road, so it makes for a great hike, easy hike here, first 3 miles. We hike along this road through a rainforest. This is actually a temperate rainforest, and you can see some of the trees here around. I'll swing around and show you. These aren't even the big ones. There's some big ones further back, but it's kind of a nice morning. A little bit of mist, probably low to mid 50s. Like I said, we started at 6 a.m. The Carbon River, which this area is named for, is over to our, from the way I'm filming, it's to our left, and we'll see it in a while. But the interesting thing about this hike, if you were to continue past the campground on the trail, is you can come to the terminus of the Carbon Glacier. And what's significant about that is it is the lowest elevation of a glacier terminus in the continental United States. I think it's about 3,500 foot elevation, and that is the lowest part of a glacier in the lower 48. So kind of an interesting Steve factoid here this morning. But pleasant morning. We haven't seen anybody. There were a couple campers out along the road. They allowed dispersed camping out there, and we saw a few campers, and there were a few cars in the road parking where we parked, but should be a good hike. We don't think we're going to see many people today, but anyway, we'll check in when we get up to our turn up to Green Lake and Ranger Falls. Talk to you soon. Still on the road, getting pretty close to our turn here, but you can see the Carbon River in this area. The channel is really wide. I'll take a picture of it here for you. But you see all the debris and the logs and stuff through the years, and it's a pretty wide channel further down there, but the river itself right now is pretty not too wide across. It's not flowing too bad here. You could probably, if there was a log, it'd be an easy walk across. But anyway, just a little bit of the Carbon River. Deer looking at us right there. So right after filming the deer, we've arrived at our trailhead. I mean, literally a minute after filming the deer. This is the trailhead to Green Lake. And as you can see, we've got about, a little under 2 miles. It's a little bit steep in spots. And this is Rainier Creek where it comes down. Actually, we're going to follow this up the hillside here, past Rainier Falls and up to Green Lake. This is the outflow, or the creek that drains out of Green Lake. So the trail continues that way for a couple miles to a campground, and then the Carbon River's through the woods here to the left. So anyway, we'll check in on the way up, and there should be some cool sights on the way. This is a big tree that's come down. This is the stump here. The trail cuts right underneath it. Goes off to the right here. Remember last week when I was talking about at Crystal Lakes, the trail was pretty smooth, and I mentioned stair stepping. This is what I was talking about. This trail is like this all the way up, so it's like taking a 2-mile stairway up to Green Lake here. And it's very green out this morning, that's for sure. A quiet morning, no bugs yet. The mist has stopped. Just kind of a nice quiet morning. So we'll check in a little bit. This is one of my favorite parts of the trail on the way up. This log has been down for a long time. You can see all the smaller trees growing out of the top of it, but the trail ducks underneath it. Kind of a tunnel effect here. And I don't have to duck. Tree's up high enough that I don't have to duck. But you can see some of these logs have been down a while. The nurse logs, as we call them, they've got trees growing on them, and a lot of ferns in this area. Boy, there's a big tree down up here. Holy moly. Look at the size of this guy up here. This thing is big. I estimate that root section is probably 20 feet across here. We'll go up, I'll get a closer look at it here for you. But it is big. But that's what you see up here. These logs have been down a while. Huge root ball on this thing. Trail continues up. We'll check in a little while. So a little steep tip for you. You can tell you're getting close to the lake when we've been under this heavy tree canopy all morning, and you can see the openings in the trees up here. And we're going to cross this bridge over Rainier Creek, another sign that we're almost there. Boy, it's real pretty up here this morning. Take some shots of Rainier Creek. It's crystal clear. And then this would go to my left here. And this would eventually go through all these long jams and go down to Rainier Falls in a series of falls, which we'll see in a little while. But this is this log over the Rainier Creek. But it's been a nice morning. It started to mist and rain a little bit here off and on, and keeping us cool. It's quite a climb up from the road up here, and the bugs are at bay with the mist and rain. Cool temps. But I don't know, I'll be interested. Gino's a little bit behind me. I'm going to be interested to see what our time was, because that road walk which is supposed to be 3 miles, took us an hour and 10 minutes, which for a level road is pretty slow for us, if it is 3 miles. So we're thinking it might be longer than that, 3.5 maybe. And then, like I said, a little under 2 up to the lake. And so it's a long hike. It's 10 miles round trip. And I'm almost at the lake, so I'll just keep filming here. This lake, you can't walk around it. You pretty much come in on the north side of it, and that's the extent of your travels. It's very isolated up here. Oh yeah, that was something we were talking about. We were thinking that the Carbon River entrance to Mount Rainier is probably the closest entrance to the park from a standpoint of closest to the Puget Sound metropolitan area. Much closer than going to Paradise or Longmire, Sunrise, other areas of the park. Yet, we would bet money that this is probably the least visited portion of the park. And it's open probably year-round. It's low elevation down there on the road. So, it's just kind of interesting. Probably hear me breathing here. Thought we'd be at the lake. Geez. Longer trip up here than I thought from the bridge. See the opening. Ah, here we are. Ah, there it is. I see the lake through the trees. Haven't seen anybody today. Not sure we will. Not a very popular trail. Good trail to do on a cloudy, misty day like today. You don't see Rainier at all, so that's good. To come up here on a crappy day. We saved the good days when we could see Mount Rainier. There's the lake through the trees. I gotta watch where I'm going. This is quite a rocky descent here down to the lake. Sorry this is taking longer than I thought. I thought we crossed that bridge and we were there, so my apologies as I'm rambling here. As I approach the lake, there is no camping allowed up here. And there's no bathroom facilities either. The bathrooms are back down at the trailhead where we parked. Okay, end of maintained trail. And we are at the very picturesque and green, aptly named Green Lake. Not only is the lake green, but it's green around the edges. Looks like someone left a shirt up here or something. Boy, it's muddy in here. Whew. Whoa! Sorry, I'm sinking in. Okay, here's the lake. And you can see it's set into these, just into this hills here, and they are fog covered. Off in that direction, for those of you who've hiked up there with me, I know Eric and Jeff have, Tolmy Peak is off in that direction, and the lookout tower is up that way. So, can't see that lake, or can't see this lake from up there, but it is up that way. And while I'm filming, I'll show you, someone left, looks like a t-shirt there on that log. But boy, it's smooth. I'll quiet down here. Well, I learned my lesson. I don't want to get too close to these logs as I sank into the mud, and I was just done cleaning my boots and socks. I am muddy. But anyway, a nice visit up here at Green Lake. Very calm this morning, and we're going to head back down the trail and stop at Ranger Falls, which is a really nice waterfall. So our next visit will be at Ranger Falls. We'll check in there. So as we come to the bridge over Ranger Creek and then start our descent to Ranger Falls, just some little bit of trail info. We got to the lake about 8:15, so started at 6, got up there at 8:15, so about 2 hours and 15 minutes as I cross Ranger Creek here. And once we stopped, boy, this is crystal clear. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's really clear. But once we stopped, we both kind of noticed how cool it's gotten up here. And I have a little pack thermometer, and we checked it out, and it looked like it's about 46, 47 degrees. So we both put our coats on here for the trip back down to Ranger Falls and then the road. So haven't seen anybody. Quiet morning. Couldn't get too close to the lake. I was commenting to Gino that I think in another couple years you're not going to be able to see the lake with how it's really grown up. I first came up here a few years ago and you could get around a little bit up there, but not anymore. So we'll see what happens in the next few years. But we're going to head down to Ranger Falls. The sun's been trying to come out this morning, but so far it's been blocked by the clouds, and so we'll see what happens here on the way back. But we'll check in down at the falls. So we reached the spur trail to Ranger Falls, and I will just take you down there with me. We descend down this little trail here. Bear with me while I watch my footing through this rooty area. And there is the spectacular Ranger Falls. Holy moly. Check this out. We'll go right up to the viewpoint here. There's a place where you can stand real close and behind a fence and get the full effect of the waterfall. Probably get a little wet today as it is flowing. Spectacular. Wow. That's the fence that you stand behind, and this is the falls. And then Ranger Creek, as I said, flows down, and eventually it comes out by the road where we started. So that's where we're headed, down the trail to the road. We'll check in down there. So this little deer is walking down the road in front of us. I think it's the one we saw earlier today. Pretty cool though. She's feeding some plants. Don't see this every day back at home. And she's just hiking along with us here. As we head back, we're back obviously on the road, as you can see. There she goes, up the hillside. Hey girl. And there she goes up the hill, climbing Climbing with four-wheel drive, four-hoof drive. So anyway, some stats for you. We saw our first 3 hikers. That's, I think, the same deer we saw this morning. She's up on this hillside up here, looking down at us. Pretty cool. Anyway, we're back on the road, heading back to the car. It's about 9:20. We've got an hour plus walk back on this road. Anyway, we saw our first 3 hikers. They were heading up. We saw them below, actually almost back down here to the road. Excuse me, got something caught in my throat here. So between Ranger Falls and the road, we saw them. They were heading up. We changed some trail info with them. But now we head back. Carbon River is over here to our right. And we've got this 3-mile plus road walk ahead of us. So luckily have someone to talk to, so it's not too boring. And maybe we'll see some other animals. Kind of cool to see a deer here. But anyway, we'll check in when we get close to the parking lot. We'll see how many folks we see. I don't know, I think we're thinking pretty low number today. The sun's been trying to come out. It stopped raining. Above me to the right, we've got a little bit of blue sky mixed with clouds, but you can see the Carbon River here. We'll see. We'll check in when we get back by the car. Well, this is Steve checking in one final time. We've reached the paved portion of the Carbon River Road, so that means we're getting close to the car. It's a little after 10:15, I think Gino said. Anyway, we've seen just the update. We've seen 2 hikers, look like a grandfather and his granddaughter, and 3 people on bikes. There was one guy who was really loaded down. He was a volunteer ranger with the Park Service, and he was going up to the campground area to brush that out. So, boy, we had talked on the way up about how it would be riding a bike up here with a load on your back, and he was loaded down, so with all his equipment. And then we saw 2 other guys biking. But anyway, the sun's kind of been playing peekaboo with us. We had a little bit of rain today. Mileage, the official mileage on this is 9.6, but we have kind of thinking it's more like 10 something, a little over 10, especially with this road walk. But been a great morning. Hope you enjoyed the visit to Green Lake and Ranger Falls. And we're on schedule next week to go up to Crystal Peak. And that should be, if the weather's decent, which we really want it to be, that's a great hike. And you see 6 volcanoes in the Cascade Range. So anyway, we're almost out of the road here. I will wish everybody a safe and healthy 4th of July. And we'll see you on the trail next week. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.